Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast, hosted by me, Monty Waldin. Today, we're in the Marche region on northeast Italy's Adriatic coast. My guest is Gianluca Garofoli of the Garofoli Winery, and as Gianluca has a lot to say, we'll divide this Italian Wine Podcast into two parts. Gianluca, welcome.
Grazie, welcome, buongiorno tutti.
Okay, now tell us a little about your family winery, because it is one of the most historic in the Marche.
Yeah, actually I'm in the fifth generation of Garofoli Winery. Our winery is for sure a family winery with my uncle, my father, sister, cousin, mother. So it's
totally unlike an Italian winery, yeah?
Yeah, it's a DOCG family winery. Our beginning starts in 1901, so it's more than a century ago in Marche region. So we are 100% Marche region with family.
So what did your family used to grow the crops historically?
Yes, absolutely.
Like what?
Olives, wheat, a lot of different things coming from the countryside, like it was more than a century ago.
So in terms of the modern history of the winery, what has been going on? What is your role?
My role, actually, I'm officially the sales manager.
Okay.
But every year I see that my responsibilities grow a lot. So I see that during the day I try to do something about sales, but then I speak with bankers and I speak about strategies or something that happens at the winery.
Okay, so tell us about the vineyards. How many hectares do you have and where are the vines?
So we have 50 hectares owned, and then we have 15 hectares rented. We have two wineries. One is in Loreto, next to the seaside in the corner area, and the second one is in Serra dei Conti in the Verdicchio area.
Okay, so tell us a little. Let's start with the Verdicchio. That's a white wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Verdicchio dei Castelli di Jesi. Mm-hmm. So tell us about your wines from Verdicchio, made from Verdicchio.
But actually, Verdicchio for us it's the most important white grape varietal, if not the only one. We make many different wines using 100% Verdicchio because Garofoli family never tried any other different varietals to blend with Verdicchio. So we are 100% Verdicchio.
So you never went international?
Never. And
was that just the family philosophy? Was it for quality? You think, listen, we have Italy's greatest white grape, Verdicchio. Why do we need to add, say, Chardonnay or Sauvignon?
Absolutely. This is the idea. In fact, when Verdicchio in the 70s was considered just a cheap white wine from Italy, my uncle, the winemaker, and my father never thought for a single minute to add Chardonnay or to add anything else to Verdicchio. But the job they did is just to improve the quality of Verdicchio, and that's it, and to focus on this grape varietal.
Okay, one of your best known wines is the Podium.
Yeah.
Why
yes.
the Verdicchio Podium? Why do you call it Podium?
Because when my uncle tasted the final blend of this wine, he said that this wine will be always on the podium. This is our podium.
So they're your top performer.
Yes, absolutely, because this is a result of 20 years of studies on the vineyard and at the cellar.
What about the terroir, the soil types? What makes the soil so well adapted and the local microclimate to the Verdicchio grape in the Marche in the Jesi area?
In Jesi, where we are in Serra dei Conti, Monte Garotto, is an ancient seabed, so it was fully covered by the Adriatic Sea. We still find a lot of particular rocks with some shells under the ground.
Seashells.
Yeah, seashells.
And fossils and things like that.
And fossils, yes. It's basically a vineyard that is 400 meters elevation, even though the average of is 200 meters, so it's quite high. We have a good concentration of clay, and probably this effect of an ancient seabed that gives a lot of minerality to the grape varietal of Verdicchio.
So what about in terms of the winemaking? I mean, the idea of not oaking the Podium.
Yeah.
Why do you not add a little bit of oak to the Verdicchio?
But because I think the final result of my uncle, the winemaker, was to make a pure Verdicchio without any other influences. Even though I love the barrique version of Verdicchio after 20 years, I think that Podium it's just fantastic because it's just Verdicchio. It's a pure Verdicchio.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your single vineyard. vineyard, Verdicchio?
It's a beautiful estate where, as I said, you have a very good elevation, so you have a very nice different in temperature during the night and during the day. From there you see literally the Adriatic Sea, so it's a very nice piece of land. The clay is very important, especially during very warm vintages, because it keeps the humidity and it results in having good bunches even in very difficult vintages. And in this single vineyard, from what my uncle said, because it doesn't really say all the things he know, he said the secret of this vineyard is the diversity of the clones, because when we selected the clones many years ago in the 70s, he decided on purpose to even have in the same single vineyard even the wrong clones, the clones that they develop like viruses. This population that is quite high, that we basically replant every years when we need to replant it. So this is the secret of Podium.
So what do the viruses do? They lower the yield? The viruses, why do you keep the virus vines? Do they produce slightly smaller grapes?
Because yes, they make a different grape. They make a different wine, and we do the microvinifications knowing where these clones are.
Okay, some people think you're very crazy.
Yes, absolutely very crazy. It happened for a purpose and for a kind of a mistake at the beginning, because apparently my uncle lost track of these 90 different clones. So he recognized later which were the viruses, and he said, okay, now they are part of this great parcel, so we keep all of them.
So what if I'm having a bottle of your Verdicchio out to the Podium? What am I going to be eating?
By Podium, I think an important fish preparation and some spices too, because even Asian spices. I think this is a great white wine to be matched with imposing fish preparations and particular spices too.
Okay, let's talk about the red. Talk about Rosso Piceno and Rosso Conero.
Yes.
What is the difference between the two?
But for sure is in our case is that for Rosso Conero we use 100% Montepulciano. Instead of with Rosso Piceno we blend with 30% of Sangiovese. So it results in a totally different body, because the Sangiovese here in Marche region has less body and gives fruitiness to the wine. Instead of the Montepulciano has a lot of tannins, has a lot of structure, especially when you work it with 100%. So we have two different style of wines, even though the Montepulciano base is very strong, it's very important.
What is Conero and where is it? And why is it such a special terroir for the Montepulciano grape?
Conero is a Greek name. In fact, Ancona was one of the two cities founded by the Greeks in the Magna Graecia on the Adriatic Sea. And when the Greeks went to this mountain, they saw a lot of little berries, red berries, called kumaros. Conero is the actual name. So this is the origin of the name of Conero.
And the berries were small because it's a very dry terroir and it's very hard for the vine to survive.
Yes, absolutely. It's an incredible terroir because it's a mountain that slopes into the sea. It's basically a piece of chalk that slopes into the sea. In our single vineyard, the 50% of the soil is chalk. With one producer we were joking because, you have the vineyards on cement, because it's basically, this is the national park of Conero. You have the elevation, you have the exposure to the south, east, southwest.
Over the Adriatic.
Over the Adriatic is a marine Montepulciano, and this is I think the most peculiar thing of the Montepulciano from Conero area. And another peculiar thing is that northern bound of Conero, it ends the subcontinental weather. From the south slopes of the Conero starts the Mediterranean weather. So it's the northern boundary where it starts the Mediterranean weather in Italy.
So you're saying it's less hot there then?
Yes, absolutely. It's fresh. It's very normal that there is wind, and during the night it's cooler, absolutely cooler, comparing to the beaches, maybe 10 kilometers south or north. So it's really a microclimate, very very important. And the Conero, there is a national park where you have a lot of chalk, and then there is a little bit wider area that is more clay, and we have different estates. From that one in the national park with chalkiness, we have an incredible amount of tannins that we don't see when we work in the Conero area in the clayist part.
So when you say, how steep is it? Is it very difficult to work there? Is it dangerous working there?
Actually, it's not so steep. The difficult part is the chalkiness, that you basically break all your tractors and whatever, because it's very complicated. And then it's a national park, so you have a lot of wild boars, and you have a lot of people eating the bunches during the season, and then tourists, and you have Ephesians. It's quite complicated. Do
you have to put netting netting around the vineyards for the boar and the pheasants?
Yes, we try, but then some people they cut those and they're not
Why
so
don't you just shoot the
effective.
tourists?
Yes, we just yes. They
Leave
start
the
the
boar.
harvest. They start the harvest. Leave the boar.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
Okay. What is your top Conero bottling called?
It's the Grosso Agontano.
So what does Grosso Agontano mean?
Grosso Agontano. Agontano is the ancient name of Ancona.
So when it was Greek, the Greek
Yes,
name,
and when it was Greek, the actual name was Ancon. That means elbow. If you see the shape of the map, you see Ancona is literally an elbow.
Yeah, you do see it when you look at the map of Italy. You can just see that little.
Yeah, and
elbow.
Ancon means in Greek language elbow.
Okay.
But Agontano was probably in between Ancon and Ancona. And Grosso was the coin, because Ancona was one of the small republic of the sea, like Genoa, Venezia. So when you were a republic from the sea, you could print your own currency, money. And the Grosso Agontano was the most important currency of Ancona. So we wanted to give this name to our most important red wine, the Grosso Agontano.
Fantastic. Okay, what about ageability of the Conero Reds?
But it's absolutely important. We are in 2017 and we start from 1993, so we're talking about more than 20 years. And it depends on the vintages a lot, though. It's not like Verdicchio that is more constant to have
More consistent. Yeah.
more consistent. The Rosso Conero is very inconsistent during the vintages because the proximity to the sea that brings a lot of humidity, and because you have to harvest in the late of October.
So you're saying multiple Giano is a late ripening grape?
Absolutely. Comparing to Sangiovese, for example, there are 3 weeks at least difference in between the harvesting of the two. So this fact that we have to wait in the end of October, so you maybe have a lot of rain. We have maybe great winters or autumns, and sometimes it starts to rain. And
What's the hard part about selling Verdicchio wine? I mean, it's very well known. The name is well known. Obviously, in the 70s, it was a very famous wine. How easy is it? I mean, it is Italy's finest white wine grape.
I understand your point, and there is not a real answer for that, because Verdicchio is well known, but is well known to be a very young white wine.
Is it a problem with the fact that it's on the seaside and where the Marche is, it's like kind of almost like where Italians take their holidays, the idea that it's a hot day, you're on the beach, you have a bottle of white wine for lunch and you have a Verdicchio, even though it can age for 10, 15, 20 years quite easily?
Absolutely. Verdicchio can be a very young white wine and can be a 30 years old white wine. So it's very confusing for a consumer, because people of a certain age, 60s, 50s, they think Verdicchio is just a young white wine, like it could be a Pinot Grigio, for example. The new generations, they know that Verdicchio can age incredibly well.
But they won't have the time, they don't have the patience to see it age, they do.
Yes.
We want everything now.
Yes.
It's like a text message, we want it.
Exactly.
So how do you get around that with your winemaking? What do you do? Or do you not have to do anything? Is it that versatile as a grape?
But I think when we make the wines, since we make a lot of different wines with the same grape variety, we have a wine for everybody. That's
Go on,
the
give us the
point.
names of those. Go on. Do you make a sparkling wine?
Absolutely. For us, we are very proud because we started in the 50s to make Charmat method with the Verdicchio, and in the 70s, Classico method with Verdicchio.
So that's Charmat method, that's kind of made in the same way as Prosecco, and the classic method is made in the same way as Champagne?
Absolutely. And in those years when we started, we didn't have the machineries to make a Metodo Classico. So during the night, we went, actually not myself, I'm too young, but my grandfather and my uncle, the winemakers, they went with the bottles of Brut Metodo Classico upside down. They went to a fish distributor because they put the bottles in the ice among fishes, and they made the gorgement. That was 1972, the
Fantastic.
very beginning.
I wish we had like a little video of that. That'd be fantastic.
That would be, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
amazing.
Fantastic.
And I love the way that you got that link with the fish as well, because it's obviously like a seafood area as well.
Oh yes, Marche region, a lot of seafood.
Classic. Okay, well we can maybe create a sketch about that, like a little comedy show with the two guys going at the middle of the night with their little bottles of sparkling wine.
Yeah.
Well, that was part 1 of this Italian wine podcast with Gianluca Garofoli from the Marche. Don't forget to tune in to part 2 with Gianluca and me, Monty Waldin.
Follow Italian Wine Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.